Welcome to the part 2 of building LinkedIn clone web. So in the previous part, we built the LinkedIn web UI, which looks something like this. We have the other pages, we put the hover effects, and we have created the home components like this. Now the remaining thing is the web is not responsive. As we have seen in the previous episode, when we shrink this or resize this, you can see everything is moving because of the expanded widgets. Now when you go for further resizing, and this is the behavior of the expanded widgets. Now when you go for expanding it and expanding it more, like let's expand this and move it in here and go for more resizing, increase its size. You can see the more we increase the size of the window, the more this is increasing the size of the components of the home, and you can see everything is stretched, and the bottom and the navigation bar is looking like this in that stretch everything window. So let's maximize this, and now it looks like this. But this is not the responsive behavior which we are going to achieve in today's episode. Now let's open up the real LinkedIn. So our real LinkedIn looks something like this. When you go for resizing, first of all focus on the home components, and then we will go for the navigations. The navigation has also some adaptations as we go for resizing the window, but first of all let's focus on the home window and its components, that how much adaptation they take accordingly when we go for resizing the window of the web. So when we resize the window, you can see nothing is shrinking like we have because of the expanded widgets. And now when we go for further resizing, and the area is not enough for the 3 columns on the window, like the first one for the profile and the page and the post and the create and also add to your feed, and this one. You can see the center one got shrinked because there was no enough space. Now when we increase this become like this, and now when you go for resizing it more, it becomes like this because they had no space, and this LinkedIn web is responsive. And when you go for further resizing, and then when there is not enough space again for this, so the right components here will be removed, and we got only this area remaining, the center and the left. And then when you go for further resizing, this will become the mobile area like this, and we got the mobile LinkedIn just like this. So how many adaptation here we had? First, when we reach to some extent, the center area will become shrinked and everything will remain the same in the home. And then this was the web and this was the tablet. And then when you go for further resizing, this was the small tablet, and then this is the mobile. So we have the 4 adaptations in which the home components adjust itself according to the screen resize. So we'll go for creating, but we forgot one thing, that is, let's also check the behavior of when we increase the size of this. So when we increase the size, how much we can, let's increase it more, and you can see the size is more, but the home components and the navigation bar is still at the same place, which means that they have their fixed size and they adapt and adjust themselves according to the screen size when it shrinks or stretch, or also we can say expands. And let's go for further. Now let's maximize this also, and that is our real LinkedIn. Now let's go for making our own LinkedIn web clone responsive. So we have this home page. So we will go for creating one more directory in the lib, and that will be named responsive. Inside this responsive directory, we are gonna have a Dart file. Its name will be responsive layout. And inside this responsive layout, there would be a stateless widget, and then this is going to accept 4 fields of type widget: mobile UI, tablet UI, small tablet UI, and desktop UI. And also they are passed in the constructor and are required. Then in the build method, this is going to return a layout builder, which gives the constants of our screen layout, and on the max width we are returning the different screen UIs like the mobile, tablet, small tablet, tablet UI and a desktop UI. When the max width was less than 750, we will return the mobile UI, and when the max width was less than 1025, we will return the small tablet UI, and when the max width was less than 1300, we will return the tablet UI. Otherwise, this will be a desktop UI. So we got this responsive layout. Now in the home page, we are going to do something different. But for now, let's go for creating inside the pages, inside the nav pages, and inside the home, let's create the home desktop UI, and then one more dot file home mobile UI, and then one more home tablet UI, and lastly home small tablet UI. And then let's go for copy this home page and paste it in the desktop, only change its name home desktop UI, and then let's paste it in the home mobile and change its name to home mobile UI, and the same for this one, the home small tablet UI, and here the same home page home tablet UI. That's it. Now in the home page, we will return in here the responsive layout, which requires the mobile UI, the tablet UI, small tablet UI, and also the desktop UI. So put semicolon in here, and for the mobile UI, call the mobile home mobile UI, and put the parenthesis to instantiate this, make it constant, and tablet home tablet UI, and also constant home small tablet UI, again constant, and home desktop UI, and finally make it constant. And let's go for removing the unused imports. So we got our responsive layout, and this is going to return the home mobile UI, home tablet UI, small tablet UI, and desktop UI according to the different width of the window here we have defined already in the responsive layout. Now in the home desktop UI, for now everything is same, like we don't make any changes in the different mobile UIs in the mobile, small tablet, or the tablet. Everything for now is the same. And next thing that we have to do is, if we look again to the real LinkedIn, you also have seen this, I just show you in the demo of this, when we are talking about the different sizes. So no matter how much I expand this, the components of the home or any other page will remain in the middle. Like I go for further resizing, and this is just like that. But in our case, when we go for further resizing, we expanded, you can see the components are also expanding. That is because of the expanded widgets. So to overcome this, first of all, we have to do is to give the max width to each UI, like desktop, mobile, small tablet, or the tablet. So for the desktop UI, we will wrap this row with the widget size box, and we will set its width to the 1150, and that would be the max width for the size box for this home desktop UI. And for the tablet UI, we will wrap again this with the widget size box, and its width will be 1000 and make it constant. And for the small tablet, we will wrap this row with the widget of again the size box, and for the width we will go for 700 and go for making it constant. And in case of mobile, we are not going to have the right menu and also the left menu, but there will be only the center menu. And for the small tablet, we are not going to have the right menu, so it will become like this. Now when we restart our web and then go for checking how it's going, this time if we go for resizing the window, let's say we go for further resizing and make it large, you can see no matter how many we resize the window and increase the window size, expand it or whatever, you can see the components are still in the same as we have in the real LinkedIn, and they have now the fixed size. And when you go for shrinking it, let's say when you do it like this, we still have the expanded widget. We are going to change it right now, but let's see how many times it adapts when the screen changes. Like let's say we go for this, and now this time we have the window of the small tablet. You can see the right component disappear from here, and for the mobile, when it's come to mobile, you can see we got only this window. But only the things that we need to tackle with is that remove the expanded widgets and also give them some fixed width and make them responsive like that. So now next thing we have to do it in here is to deal with the widgets of the home, center menu, left menu and right menu. So we'll go to the home center menu and then remove this expanded widget from here, and let's wrap this with the widget size box, and there its width will be coming from we specified while calling the home center menu. And the same thing will go for the left menu. We have to remove the expanded and then wrap this with the widget of size box, and then pass a parameter of double max width and then make it required and pass it the width of max width and make this column constant. And lastly in here we also have to remove the expanded final double max width and pass it in the constructor and wrap this with a widget size box width of max width and then wrap this and then make it constant. Now for all of the UIs, first for the desktop we have to define the max width for the home components on their different sizes. So when there is the desktop home UI displayed, so what will be the size of the home left menu, center menu and the right menu? Let's define it. So when the home desktop UI is displayed, we will set the home left menu size to 220, and that will be the size, and that will be the max size when we have the desktop UI displayed. And then for the home center menu, we will set it to 505, and that will be the max size whenever the home desktop UI is displayed. And then 310 for the home right menu when the home desktop UI is displayed. And then for the mobile, the home center menu will be expanded. That is because if you look at the behavior of the real LinkedIn, when we go for the mobile size, you can see when we reach the mobile extent, now you can see everything has expanded behavior. So for the home, we will create one more widget in the center menu. We will call it home mobile center menu, and then we will copy this and paste it in here and also change its name to home mobile center menu. And this is not going to accept any parameter, and then remove this size from here and make this expanded, and let's make it constant, and that's it. Now in the home mobile UI, call the home mobile center menu, and that will be it. And for the home small tablet, we will specify the size for the left menu. That would be the same 220, and the home center menu size will be 450. And lastly, for the home tablet UI, the left menu size will remain the same. That would be 200 max width 220. And for the center menu, this will be a little bit shrink when this is tablet UI, as we have seen in the demo of when we were seeing the real LinkedIn. So its max width would be in the home tablet UI 450, and then the right menu would be 300 in the home tablet UI when displayed. Now let's go for restarting the app, and let's open this up, resize it. Now let's go for resizing the window. So as we go for further resizing, we got this render flow exception, and when we reach some extent, you can see this got shrinked. And then when we go for further resizing, and when we reach to some extent, you can see the right menu is disappeared, and this is now the mobile window, and it is shrinking. That is because it has so many space at the left and right. So I think we forgot something, that is to removing the horizontal spacing from the desktop, also the mobile, and last but not least the small tablet UI and also the tablet UI. Now let's again go for restarting by pressing the R in the terminal and open up this, and this is our home, and this is how our mobile UI looks like. Now let's maximize it again and go for resizing. When you go for further resizing, and you can see we have the behavior like the real LinkedIn, and when you go to the further resizing, it got this render flow exception, and we are going to fix it in a while. And when you go for further resizing, and this spacing at the left and the right is finished or not enough, this right will be disappeared, and we got the window in the middle again. And then you go for further resizing, we got the home like this. So now what we have to do is to deal with this render flow when we are on the tablet view. So to overcome this, we will look at the code. So in the home tablet UI, sometimes the small mistakes cause the problem, such as we have so much space in between them. Let's make it 15 and check it again. Let's go for restarting it again, and let's go for it. When we reach to some extent, you can see now this is not coming again, the render flow. And when you go for the tablet, you can see this area got shrinked. And when you go for further resizing, and then we go to the small tablet UI, this become just like this. The right component disappeared, and you go for further, you can see now the home become expanded, and this is our mobile LinkedIn web. That was how we make the home responsive. But one thing that is remaining is when we are on the mobile UI of the LinkedIn, we want to show the profile area also in here, not the start create, but this will be a little bit down in here. So we need this area. So we already have the home mobile center menu, so we can modify it like that. So let's go to the code, and in the home mobile center UI, as this is already expanded, so in here we are going to add some more stuff of the profile in here. So I have copied this column widget from my left menu widget of profile, and then I wrap it with a container to give it the white background and some borders of the LinkedIn medium gray of with opacity 0.2, and that's it. In the child of the container, we have the column and then an image, same as we have here. When this screen is not resized, here this image of background, and then some size box of 60, and then padding wrapping a column of username and its bio. That's it. Some size box right after this, and also some size box outside from this container. Now when we restart the app and go for resizing the window to see the home mobile, and it is now like this, you can see, but we also need the user profile in here. So for that we have to wrap our column with another column, and we will make it stack. And then outside from this column, we are going to do one more thing, that would be the same align method as we had in the left menu of profile widget, a container with the 85 width and height and some decoration, and we are clipping that image to 42.5 and image asset of profile 1 JPG, and it's aligned at the top center. And this is same as we had in the profile widget of the left menu. Now restart this and we got the profile in here. Now one more thing here we need is that show more right after this. So for that we have to do is to open this column, and right after this size box that we paste, we will add a center widget, and its style will be a row, which main axis alignment will be in the center, and will be showing show more text with the font size 14, with the linked in medium gray color, with some little bit of font weight bold and some size box and a keyboard arrow down icon. Now let's reload this, and we got this show more in here, and our home components become successfully responsive. Now let's resize this or maximize this, and when you go for further resizing the window, and when it's reached to the tablet, you can see the center component of the home is shrinked. And now when you go for further resizing, and when there is not enough space in here, so this will become the right menu will be disappeared like that. And now we are again got the center menu and the left menu in the center, and when there is no more area, so this will become like this. And when you go for further resizing, this is our home menu, and here we also got this when this is a mobile, and when this is not a mobile, a tablet, so you can see this home menu, this profile area is not in here. So that is how we make the pages responsive, and you can do the same thing for the other pages to give them max width and height, and define the max width for the widgets. But one thing that you have to keep in mind is that you can see in the home desktop UI, in the mobile desktop UI, the home small tablet UI, and also in the home tablet UI, we are not duplicating everything. We are using the same widgets of the home right menu, center menu, and also the left menu. In the small tablet we have only two, but on the mobile we have the only one. Only this home mobile center menu is a little bit different with some other configurations, but that's not very complex. We are using the home left menu, center and right menu in the three of the libraries of home desktop UI and home small tablet UI and home tablet UI. So like that, you have to create the widgets and reuse them to improve the performance, and correctly following the drive principle. Do not repeat yourself. Just reuse the reusable components or widgets and complete your job with this. So our home area is successfully responsive, and now it's time to go for making the navigation bar responsive. So now let's see the behavior of the real LinkedIn. Let's open this LinkedIn up and maximize this. Now let's focus only on this navigation bar. So when we come to the tablet size, when the center component got shrinked, until that everything was same in the navigation bar. But you didn't notice one thing. That was when this was the desktop UI. You can see the space between the search and this right row in our case is not changing. But in case when we reach to the tablet UI, you can see this home right row start moving, and when it's reached to the search field, the search field is disappeared and is converted into just an icon and a text. And now when you go for further resizing, and when we reach some extent, you can see the titles or the labels from the icons is disappeared, but their spacing is still in here. But when you go for further resizing, the spacing is also removed, and when you go for further resizing, the two icon will be converted into just a menu like icon. So how many adaptation we have? First, it's immovable. Then when we reach the tablet, it start moving. So it means we got two. And then when it's reached the search, and search field is converted into search icon, so it means we got three adaptations. And then when we reach this, the labels removed, we got the 4, and then 5, and like that 6. So now let's go for tackling with the navigation bar. So let's open this up, our local host of the web LinkedIn clone, and let's go to the code. Let's go to the navbar widget, and we have to do everything in here. So by default, the behavior of the left row and right row is immovable. Let me show you. When you go for resizing, you can see how no matter at how many extent our window is resized, the space between the left row and right row is remain the same, and it got the render flow exception, but it's not doing something with the adaptations. So here, when you wrap this left build row with the widget, let's wrap it with the widget, let's say expand it and put this build left row in the child of this. So this will take all the available space, and when you restart this, and now both move, one at the leftmost and one at the rightmost. So when we resize the window, you can see now this is movable. So we got this movable behavior, but now we have to deal with a different way. So let's move to the Android Studio again, and here we need to check some conditions and accordingly put the expand it and accordingly remove it when it's necessary. So first of all, we will wrap our container with the widget builder, and that builder will be converted into layout builder, and also pass one more parameter in the builder, constraints. And then here we will only give the 122 spacing between the left row and right row whenever the screen max width is greater than 1150. So in that case, we will give the 120 space between the left row and the right row, and then we will make the left row expanded as long as the max width is less than 150. Otherwise, it will be they build left row directly, which means that there will be the fixed 120 size between them. But when the max width of the screen become less than the 1150, we will return the left row by wrapping it with the expanded widgets. So that 1150 is the max width of the home desktop UI in here. That is the max width which the components of the home desktop UI is taking. And in the navigation bar widget, we are saying in here, when the constraints of max width was greater than the 1150, only in that case you have to give the 120 width. Otherwise, there is no need to give the spacing, because when the max width is less than 1150, in that case you will wrap the left build row with the expanded and will make the build right row movable when we resize the window. Now when we restart the app and go to the design, now when we start resizing the window, you can see for now the space between the search bar and the right row here is fixed, which means that this condition is true for now. The max width of the screen is greater than 1150. So as we reach to the size of 1150, and that is this size, you can see the left row start moving in here. And when we resize it back, and that is the same behavior as we had in the real LinkedIn, you can notice when this LinkedIn logo and search bar is attached to the leftmost, so the right area will start moving in here. You can see now it's moving, but when it's web, now it's not moving. So we have achieved this thing also by checking these conditions in here. Now next thing we want is when we reach to the 1150 width and it starts moving, and when this home is reached to the search bar, we want the search bar to be converted into the search icon with some label, but not this render flow exception. So we have to do in the code, we have to pass the max width to our build left row, and here in the max width we will pass the max width from the constraints dot max width, and copy the same thing and paste in here. Now inside the left row here we will check the conditions accordingly. So upon that container, so we will check the condition. If the max width was less than 1030, we will return a padding widget with the horizontal of 8, and this will be an equal to just have the pointer upon this when we hover on it, and this is going to return a column with the size box of vertical 2 and a search icon with its label. Now when you go for restarting this, and when we reach to 1030 width of the screen, and this is converted into search icon, but you can see the lift area is still moving. When we reach to the search and this is converted into an icon and a label, we also want to this right row to be directly stuck to the lift, and this will be no more the behavior of this moving. So we also want to remove this moving behavior again when we reach to the search, and the search bar is converted into the icon and the label. So for that we will go in here, and before this condition making the lift row expanded and giving it the moving behavior, we will do here checking one more condition. Before this condition we are saying if the max width was less than 130, which means that we have reached to the search field and now we no more need the moving behavior. So we will again return the lift build row without the expanded widget. Now let's rebuild this and let's resize it again. And when we reach to this search field like this, you can see it got stuck to the lift, but this become in the center. That is because we also have to change the main axis alignment of the row, or we can say remove it directly. By default it's lift. So you can see now when I again come in here and go for further resizing, when we reach to the search has disappeared and we got this right row directly stuck to the lift, and it become like this as a real LinkedIn behavior. Now next thing we need is when we came to in here, we want the right row to be converted into like to lost its labels and only show the icons. And then when you go for further resizing, also it will lose its spacing between them, and when we go for further resizing, the poster job and the tools will be converted into a menu icon as we have here, like when we are like this on that type menu on that size window. So when we reach to some extent, you can see it lost its labels and then its spacing, and then the tools and the poster job is converted into a menu like this. So this is the last behavior we are going to achieve. So let's go to the code, and now this time is to deal with the build right row. So here in the widgets, we will create one more widget that would be navbar responsive right row widget, as it has so many adaptations. So we are not going to duplicate everything in here, but instead everything responsiveness will be done for the right row in there and will be returned according to the conditions in the navbar responsive right row widget. So inside this we are going to have a stateful widget which will be adjusting everything, the right row, when to remove the labels, when to remove the sizes, and when to convert the tools and the poster job icon to just a menu. But before this we have to modify our navbar item widget and also the navbar profile widget. That would be here we need to check some conditions. That would be for giving the size box of height 4, we will check the condition if the widget title was equal to null, meaning that while calling the navbar item widget we do not specify the title in here. So we will not give the size box, but well, a simple container means nothing, no more spacing. And the same will be for the title. If the title is not specified and is null, so we will not return the text but instead a simple container. And the same will be giving the spacing from the top. When the title was equal to null, we will give the top margin 15, otherwise it would be 10. because when there is no title, so our icon will move a little bit above. So to moving it again down, we will check the condition also. If the title was not in there, we will give more spacing like 15 and remove the scones from here. So that's it. Now let's go to the profile navbar item widget. Here we need to check the same conditions in here, because in that row we will check again the condition. If the widget title was null, simply return a container, and for the second icon we will do the same. If the title was equal to null, return the container, and that's it. And also the same for the top 9 padding. We will check the condition. If the widget title was equal to null, we will return the 15 padding, otherwise 9, and remove this constant. Now let's go for the navbar responsive right row widget. That would be a stateful widget which is going to accept these 3 booleans and a navbar on navbar item click listener, because here we will be dealing with the different rows adaptations. So here we also pass the current selected index, and all of that stuff will be done in here. So we are checking the condition. If the row without titles or labels was true, we will return the build row without titles. And here we do not specify the titles, and we also have just check the conditions in the navbar items and the profile navbar items. When there is no title, what you have to do. And then when the row without titles and spacing means that in the next adaptation we have to remove the spacing also. So when the row without titles and spacing was true, we will return the build row without titles and spacing. And then when the row without titles and spacing with menu was equal to true, this time we means that the post job or the tools are removed and the menu is displayed. We will return the build row without titles and spacing with menu. And if none of the condition was specified and was true, we will return build normal row. So we will go to navbar widget and remove this build right row from here, and here in the right row we will return the navbar responsive row widget with different conditions having true on different sizes of the screen. So we are saying if the max width of the screen was less than 550, which means that this is small mobile. So we will return the navbar responsive right row with the condition true, the row without titles and spacing with menu. And then when this was false, we will do when the screen size was less than 730, which means that there will be the row without titles and spacings. And when the max width of the screen was less than 80, we will return the navbar responsive row widget with the row without titles. Only the titles will be removed. Otherwise, we will return the navbar responsive right row widget with only the navbar item click listener, and this will be a normal row widget. So now in the navbar responsive right row, the build normal row is the row that I just deleted from the navbar widget. And in the build row without titles, I just do not specify the titles in here, and according to the conditions there will be no titles and the spacing will be removed, as I made the configuration in navbar item widget this configuration. And then for the row build row without titles is I just remove the bottom border width, as we have here the border width, and I just do not specify its color. So we got this without spacing when you remove the border, so the spacing horizontally for each item of the navbar will be removed. And then for the build row without titles and spacing with menu, what I have done in here is we have all the navbar items same, but lastly here instead of building the profile navbar item widget, I just return the more horizontal icon from the material icons. So we got it like this. Now in the navbar widget, we return the navbar responsive right row widget on different sizes of the screen. Now when you go for restarting this and open up our web, now when you go for further resizing, first of all, this is not any center. To fix this, we will do to set this row main axis alignment to center but its main axis alignment will only be in the center whenever the max width of the screen is less than 1030. So we will make the main axis alignment to start otherwise in the center. Now let's restart this again. So we got this in the center like this. So now let's test it again. When we go for resizing the window, initially you can see the behavior of the navbar. We have the 120 spacing is still between the left row and right row in our case. So when you go for further resizing and when we reach to the 1150 width, the right row will start moving. You can see just like this. And when you go for further resizing and this home page is reached to the search bar, the search bar is converted into an icon and label same as we have the home, network and jobs. And the further resizing, when you go for here, the labels will be disappear just like this. And now only spacing is remaining. And the further resizing will also remove these spaces just like this. And when you go for further resizing, this will be converted into a menu like this. But there is still some unexpected behavior, that is this menu icon is stuck to the left very much. To fix this, let's go to the navbar responsive right row and here move to the build row without titles and with spacing and a menu. At the bottom we have this menu and let's decrease the size box to let's say 15. And now this looks good. But here when we are resizing, you can see we get a little bit render flow exception, but that is okay because in production this will not be shown as the render flow exception, and this is the correct behavior of it. Like if you compare it with the real LinkedIn, here when we reach to some extent like this, you can see when we come upon this like a little bit, then this is converted into the menu. Same like this in our case, when we a little bit come upon this, so this is converted into a menu. So we got our LinkedIn web clone created and also made responsive. And here the search bar icon also must lost its label. So here in the left row in the navbar widget, we can do something like this. In here we will check if the max width was less than 800. So we will display a container instead of the text. Remove the cons from here, and then for the size box we will also check the condition. If the max width was less than 800, the size box from top will be 10, otherwise 2 if there is label. And now only make this individual text, search field, search text and this icon constant. Now reload the app and we got the search like this. Now increase this and go for decreasing it and we got it just like this. Now maximize this and let's go for resizing it again. So when you go for resizing, we reach to the tablet view, this got shrink, and then this is reached to the 1150, which is the max width of our desktop UI, and this start moving. And when the right row is reached to the search bar, is converted into the search icon and a label, and also the right component is lost, is disappeared when we come to the small tablet UI. And by further resizing, when we reach to some extent, the labels will be disappeared and the spacing is remaining. And when you go for further resizing, it will become the mobile UI, a large mobile UI or a small tablet UI like this. And when you go for further resizing, the spacing is also removed, and then further resizing will remove the poster job and these tools will be converted into a menu. Now it looks good. We have successfully made responsive our LinkedIn clone web, and we have also created the UI for this. So that was it for the second part of this LinkedIn web UI. We have successfully made our LinkedIn web UI responsive, and yes, you can create the other pages like the network page, jobs, messaging, notifications, and the other pages if you want to practice more on the LinkedIn web and make it responsive. And also let me know in the comment section, and also tell me if you have any confusions what we have done while building this LinkedIn clone web and making it responsive. So let me know your questions, and also complete this task to make the network, jobs, and messaging, or only some pages, make it responsive, and let me know in the comment section that you have completed this task. So that would be the exercise task for you in this week 3 to create the network page, jobs, messaging, and other pages for practicing the web and also making them responsive like we just done with this homepage. So that's it. I will see you in the next video.